Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to show you guys how 20 bucks can equal almost $500,000. Welcome to the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets you own. Alright guys, let's get into it. Like I was saying, something as insignificant as 20 bucks can equal big differences when it comes to valuation. When it comes to real estate investing, especially commercial real estate investing, how little insignificant incremental increases in either rents or decreases in expenses can have huge impacts on the bottom line. Commercial real estate, unlike residential real estate, the valuation is based on the income, not based on other properties similar in characteristics. Unlike doing a 3-bed, 1-bath and comparing it to all other 3-beds, 1-bath, commercial real estate, and when I say commercial, I don't just mean storefronts, but I mean apartment buildings as well. But commercial real estate looks at the income of the property and the net operating income, to be more specific. They look at the NOI, and that is how they determine the value of the property. So when something like a $20 change in the NOI happens, the value could be significantly different. And I'm going to go into an example to show you guys specifics on what I'm talking about. All right, let's take this basic example of how to calculate NOI. So here we have rent. And let's say this is for a multifamily property. This is that commercial building that I'm telling you about, right? So let's say that the rent is, I don't know, I'm making it up as we go along. Let's say it's $1,100 a month. So far, so good. And then we're going to have to multiply it by 12 months in the year. And then we're going to multiply it by how many units. And let's say this is a 100-unit building. So if I was going to do the math on that, it's 1,100 times 12 times 100. And we have $1,320,000. Okay, so that is our income from the building. Now, we have to subtract the expenses. The expenses are going to be things like property maintenance and management and taxes and insurance. And then you might have fire alarm and sprinklers and lawn care and snow removal and all of those kind of things, right? So the building is going to have expenses. Let's say that I calculated $650,000 in annual expenses. So I'm going to subtract that from our total there, and we get $670,000. All right, that is the NOI. Now, in order to determine the value of the building, we have to figure out the cap rate. The cap rate is the return that you are expecting if you were to buy the property in all cash, right? It's like the ROI if you bought the building all cash. So most properties, let's say there's a multi-family apartment building that you're looking at now. They're selling around 5 or 6% right now. That seems to be the going rate. So let's say we were at a 5 cap. So what that means is I'm going to take my $670,000 and I'm going to divide it by 0.05. So when I do that, divide by 0.05 because that's the cap rate. That means this building is valued at $13,400,000. That's a lot, right? That's a lot. And now, this is where $20 could equal almost $500,000. Check this out. Let's say we changed nothing with the expenses. All we did was we raised everybody's rent by 20 bucks. So your rent today is now $1,120. And so we do this same math here, right? We do that same math, but we just make it $20 more. So now we have 1,120 times 12 times 100, right? Now we have 44000. So $1,344,000. That is just a $24,000 increase. That's it, right? If we keep the expenses the same, so I'm going to take that number and I'm going to subtract $650,000 to create our new NOI. Our new NOI is 694,000. You guys following along so far, right? Again, we just increased it by $24,000 a year. It doesn't seem like a big deal. But then when I divide that number by 0.05, all of a sudden, my new total is 388,000. That's almost $500,000 by simply increasing the rent by a little bit. The individual tenant may not notice. They might be a little mad, like, oh, the landlord, they increased the rents again, right? And it's like, what they increased by? 20 bucks. Ah, no big deal, 20 bucks. And you do this across the board. over 100 units, and all of a sudden you've just increased the value of the building by $500,000. That is $500,000 to you and your investors. That's incredible, and that's just $20. Imagine if you were able to reduce the expenses. Maybe you renegotiated the insurance and you were able to lower the insurance. Maybe you got in-house property management instead of external property management, or in-house maintenance team instead of hiring subcontractors. There's a lot of different ways where you can reduce the expenses, and by reducing the expenses, you're able to increase your NOI. And every little increase in NOI is an increase in the valuation. Now, what I just showed you guys, it's a very popular strategy. It's the value add investing strategy. It's where you're buying a property that's underperforming, whether the rents are low, they're under market value, or the expenses are high for whatever reason, bad operations. So you, as a good operator, you come in and you buy the building and then you turn it around. You bring all the rents up to market rate, and then you reduce the expenses by having more efficiencies. Maybe you have low flow toilets and things like that. Again, reduce the expenses, increases the NOI. And then the investment itself, the valuation is that much higher. Now, when I'm doing it on a blackboard, it's super easy, right? It's like, oh, let's just raise this and let's lower that. But in real life, in practice, there's a little bit of more skill that's involved. It's a longer time frame. Imagine that we had that 100-unit building and there are tenants already in there. Well, you can't just raise the rents right when you get in there. You have to wait for leases to be up. So what you can do in the meantime is, when there are apartments that are not yet rented, you could fix those up and then raise the rents for the new tenant coming in. So you're raising it to market rate. They might be vacant because they haven't been worked on in a very long time. They're outdated and they need to be freshened up. So you're going to come in with new capital. You're going to put money in there. You're going to raise the rents, and then the property is going to go up in value. Then when the existing tenants, when their leases are up, you give them the option. Either A, they can stay, but they're going to have to pay the higher rent and you can fix up their unit, or B, they can move out and then you're going to fix up the unit and rent it to someone new, or C, they can stay there, pay the higher rent and not get their place fixed up. And believe it or not, some tenants are like, I don't want you in my unit. I'll pay the higher rent. I want to stay, but don't come in here. I don't need to fix this. Hey, that makes it better for you because you didn't spend the money to increase the rent. So it's a win, not a win-win, I'm sorry. But it's a win for you, right? It's a win for you. So then you do that next set, right? And then the next set, and then the next set, and then the next set. You might do this over a couple of years or a couple of months, whatever it is, but you can't just do it all at once because there are people who are living in there already and they have their leases in place. There also might be situations where there are tenants that are not paying and then you're going to have to evict them and go through that whole process. So all of this is happening, and all you're doing is you're just managing all the pieces and allowing the people who do the work to do the work. Ultimately, your job is simple. Your job is to find the property, find the money, put it together, and then buy the property and then do the value add. That's where you're going to fix up the vacant units, rent them out at market rate, and then when the leases are up, you have that conversation with the tenant, and then if they need to be evicted, then you also have that happen as well. And then eventually the whole building is done, it's stabilized, and then you can either sell the property or refinance. But at that point, the valuation is so much higher than when you bought it, and so that is how you create wealth over time in real estate with commercial real estate. All right, guys, if you found that video to be helpful, please like the video and then make sure you guys subscribe, because I release new videos every Monday and Wednesday here at the Hoan Zone, where we help you multiply the assets you own. All right, guys, see you in the next video. Peace.